Okay, friends, sorry to cut your time short. Time is rolling past. So, who's got anything that you'd like to share with us in response to the first question about any passage of Scripture that speaks to you about God being active when we can't see it? Anybody? Yeah, here at the front. Wonderful, thank you. And Phil over here on the side.
Jill, when you asked us earlier about what image of God we have, I always go to the mother hen image. So, of course, being under her wings, I am in darkness, and I do just have to trust in God. Something about when I'm in the light, I feel I can forget that and act more in my own power, but when I'm in the dark under her wings, completely trusting God.
Brilliant, thank you for that.
Well, only because it reminded me of an encounter we had with one of the children in school yesterday, who you bounced the question back to them, what's your favourite Bible story, book of the Bible? And a child in St John's School said, Ruth. And when you asked why, she could articulate why, which was absolutely wonderful. But books like Ruth and Esther, where God is working behind the scenes, in the book of Esther, as you reminded me, without even being named. You know, why have we got this book? Because God isn't even named. But behind the scenes, God is working wonderfully, powerfully. And both of those books, of course, being about strong women.
A couple that occurred to me. I thought the obvious one was Jesus' parable about the farmer sows the seed, and while he's sleeping, it's
yes.
God's always around. And the other one we've just been saying, Cyrus. So those people in exile, they had no idea that anything was going on. They had no idea that this was happening to Cyrus. So that's out of sight. Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Well, every psalm. Why, God, aren't you doing something? And then you get to the end, oh, actually you are, aren't you? Psalm 139, which has tied in with just about everything we've talked about today, hasn't it? God doing things hidden away in secret places. But then actually, the most blindingly obvious one is Christ on the cross. When it looks like everything has gone wrong, but this is an act of salvation.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Sharon.
Thank you. Okay, and Karen, go on, and then we'll come on to any stories from your own life.
Jairus' daughter is a story that's really significant for me, and just the way that, it all seems dark, it all seems like everything is lost, and that Jesus just says, stop for weeping and wailing, and I think part of that comes out from the Roger Jones musical. Yes. But just that sense of, actually stop the weeping and wailing, and, I know what's going on, and I've still got this, and the right time will be.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. Okay, and then the second question about any stories from your own life. Did anybody get as far as talking about that, and is there anything that anybody wants to share in the space? Thank you.
I wasn't going to share this, but I will. So, quite a long time ago, pushing 30 years ago, my younger brother died suddenly and unexpectedly, and it was a great shock. I knew before my mum, and so I travelled over to Sheffield to tell my mum, and it was a horrible time, as you can imagine. And I stayed a few days with my mum. So that first night, I slept in the room that had been my brother's when he was younger, and I'd turned the light off, and I was lying in bed, just going over the events and the conversations of the day, and just wondering how we were going to get through it. And about 20 minutes after I turned the light off, I was lying in bed in the dark. The light bulb from the light fitting fell out of its socket and landed on the bed. And in that moment, I just felt this was God, or maybe my brother, just saying, it's going to be all right. And I had a real sense of peace that never left me from that time. And I was just reminded of it today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, the light actually on you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Stuart, thank you.
I grew up within the life of the church, but it was Boys Brigade that held me within the church. In particular, the North West District used to have a Christian leadership course, a Christian leadership weekend every year. I ended up going on it 4 times, I was greedy. But I can always remember the first time I went, because this weekend was very much influential in my Christian journey. The very first weekend I went, when my parents picked me up, they said I was glowing.
Yeah.
And that was such an influential weekend.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't know. Yeah, one more, and then we will move on because we're going to overrun, and I don't. Okay, go on.
The hidden treasures that friends and family and congregations can bring. So my lovely husband Barry suddenly in 2020 just collapsed, and it turned out that he had a huge tumour in his stomach, and this was 2020 in lockdown. So he was rushed in hospital, and I couldn't go. I did go, but was told no, I couldn't go. So I had to turn around and go back, understandably. But what we found is when he eventually came out of hospital, I'd received, he's not the best communicator. He's lovely, but he's not sending emails and stuff like that. So therefore, all the emails, all the messages of love and support and care and prayer was sent through me. And so he hadn't seen a lot of these. And I told him when we'd FaceTimed, I'd told him what had come through. So we just sat on the settee when he got home. And he said, right, read to me everything that we've had. I want to know who and what's been said. And we must have sat there for nearly half an hour or more, reading through all these messages. He'd had cards as well that had come, so we had the cards with us too. We went through those. Text. It's amazing, isn't it, media these days. So there was emails, there was messages on. I didn't do WhatsApp then, but on Messenger.
Yeah.
There was messages on in cards. There was just all sorts, and it was just so. Suddenly, in this difficult time, there was that real sense that we were so held. The hidden treasure was that we were being held all that time, and it was just so helpful and comforting, and God's compassion.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that.